be fair. And good evening. I am Mr. Brad Chester. The dude over top of me is Mr. Brian Horton. And we are ready to talk about things. And we are going to talk about KR blowing my mind in chat. I literally went, Brian, what the hell's a command bunker? And then he directed me, which apparently if you go into the app, pull up one of your lists, and you tap on the little skull jammy, it gives you all of your stats, all of your strats, and that's awesome. I didn't know that existed until 8 seconds ago.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool feature. I think it's one of the nice things GW did. That was one of the things that a lot of people, when I just talk to people, they're like, yeah, the app's good, but man, I could really use this feature. They kind of listened, and they really gave us a nice feature.
It's sick, man.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yep.
I mean, it's like super cool. I'm like going to use this all weekend. I'm going to a tournament this weekend. Who is this crad breaster? He's the notorious man of mystery.
So, man, we got some. The community's acted really different to this. There are people who are super happy about this. There are people who think they buffed Eldar. There are people who think they punted a couple armies into the sun, and then there's people who are just like, it's a balanced data slate.
They hit a single. They didn't strike out. The rules commentary alone is literally a single. How about that? Because they effectively have 15 pages of, hey, stop doing dumb shit. This is actually what it is. And then they've got a couple pages of actual good rulings. You know what I mean? Clearing stuff up. But for the most part, what they did is say, this is some bullshit. Now, let's go over the rules commentary, because there's a couple big things. One, as I build my Dark Eldar list, getting out of transports, after disembarking out of transports, coming out of reserve is huge. Big deal. Can't charge after it, but it's a big thing. They finally clarified, because they were doing it different at literally every tournament. Reserves on turn 1, which if you and I are playing and you go first and I pick up my scouts and my assassin and my unit of sent devs or whatever, I can put them back down on my turn 1. You know what I mean? Yep. And they cleared that up. And I think they did a great job on the rules commentary. The only thing that they did a good job on the rules commentary, but they did a terrible job in writing, is one of the biggest things right now is ignoring modifiers, ignores half damage, -1 and stuff like that. But the problem is that they wrote who has ignore modifiers terribly. Because some people have ignore your own hit modifiers, and that's all. Some people say ignore modifiers, and it's a per unit, per strat thing. I hate that so much.
Yeah, you're like, there's that. I think that's one of the ones that was written really like, I can tell that was done in British English, which is entirely different from our Americanized version, and it just needs a tweak, a little bit of a little bit of a clarification rewrite to make it a little clearer.
Yeah. And the there's a couple things that just basically said, isn't this how we've been playing them all along? Hazardous, for instance, that's always
hazardous is one that is much clearer now.
Yeah, but I've always been doing that anyways, so yeah. I didn't think it was different. Same thing with objectives, to be honest with you. I was already playing that way. You know what I mean? It's just people get creative in their interpretations of the rules, and I really like that this is a big thing, because we bitch at them all the time for stuff, but we do have to give credit when they do something right, which is we tell them all the time, be more clear, be concise, put out clear rulings so that I don't have to talk to the weird guy about why he ruled it that I'm not allowed to move my model on a Tuesday. You know what I mean? Because something weird said it.
I mean, for me, one of the, like, there's a quiet nerf inside of this whole thing that I think a lot of people have overlooked, is the one-shot weapons not being able to be fired from firing decks.
Yeah, which is fine. Why not?
It's a really interesting ruling.
They already have, to be honest, to be fair, I hate the firing deck rules that don't allow me to use the special rules anyways. So it makes it, the continuity of it's fine. You know what I mean? Because they already ruled that way. Do I agree with them? No. You know what I mean? When Badrock and the Flash Gits are in a open topped vehicle and I can look at Badrock and go, hey man, should I do the thing that you tell me to? You're like, nah, we're in a vehicle. You can't use my stuff. He's like, I'm literally talking to you right now. Nah, doesn't work. You're like, okay, I guess. Meh. What's up, Ed? And definitely speak proper American. Thank you very much. One of the, I like the rules commentary quite a bit. I agreed on most everything, and even the things I didn't agree, they at least made them clear. You know what I mean? So I really appreciated that. Kudos.
Vehicles with bases was a nice clarification.
Oh, if you weren't playing them like that, you were the problem. You know what?
I'm not going to disagree with you, but it makes it so it's easier for a judge.
That's 100%. I agree. It's so much easier. You have it right there. You're like, hey, we don't have to argue about your weird interpretation of the rules. It says it right here. Yep. You know that I think the rules commentary was the best part of the Dataslate, like laughably. It was very good. It concise. It really hemmed out dumb rules. I love it. So they could have done it. I mean, you can never cover every rule, to be honest with you, but they did a good job of covering a lot of things. Why they got delayed, who knows? You know what I mean? The things that I'm not huge on are stop nerfing or even touching armies that are winning at your armies that are in the place that you want them to be, in that sweet spot of wins and not overpowered in anything else. Just stop touching them, man. Like, just stop it. No, bad. No, get off the couch. You know what I mean? It's just.
So, which ones are you concerned that they touched?
I did like that they touched Votan. I mean, I think that they should have just touched the Sagittar and moved on. How about that? And then I thought that they should have left. Death Guard really didn't get done. They got a 1 up and 2 decreases. Oh, Orcs got everything.
They got 2 ups and 2 decreases.
Yeah. So I got everything in Orcs that I play got upped. So I felt very targeted by the 2 last armies that I've played. All of the units that I played in my army got increases. So I was
Hunter, for feeling bad for Guard, you may want to reconsider that once you if people actually read one of the rules that they just did for them, where the guys who can issue orders can get out of a tank and issue the order. It doesn't say that when they issued the order in the command phase when they were in the tank, they can't order it again when they get out of the tank.
That'll be nerve. That'll be FAQ.
They need to FAQ that. Yeah. But for now, as written, it's a little crazy.
So the thing is that they did that. Death Guard, just leave them alone. I thought the Orcs could have been left alone, especially since they have a codex coming out, next month, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But just anybody that's in the sweet spot, you kind of just let them do what they're going to do. I was happy that people can throw tomatoes if you want, but like there just wasn't enough data yet it's too new for Necrons to have been nerfed. You know what I mean? They might be in the future, but there's no reason to nerf something instantaneously. Cough, cough, Votan, sorry about your luck when you got nerfed before you got released. But let's talk about who's the biggest winners here. I mean, obviously, let's just start off with KR's Custodes, because decreases in points plus 4 up against devastating wounds is a gigantic buff for that army.
Huge buff. So they've got to be one of the top 3 winners, in my opinion.
You know who I'm going to take as one of the tops? Dark Eldar. I've been making Dark Eldar. My current Dark Eldar list that I just made was Archon, Lilith, Drazar, 3 units of 10 Kabbalite Warriors, 3 units of Incubi, 1 unit of Witches, 2 units of Mandrakes, 3 units of Reaver Jetbikes, 3 Ravagers, 3 Venoms, 4 Raiders. It's just a lot of shit. And the fact that you can you disembark when you come in from reserves, it means you can take those Raiders off board, pop out, get full rerolls, double exploding 6s, and you're ignoring cover. That's legit, man. You know what I mean? And plus, they gave the extra AP for Power from Pain, and now you can move your vehicle and then get out and charge. So the witches and the incubi are both AP3. That's like legit now. Like they have play. They have enough stuff to play the game. I think that might be the most improved army.
I think they're really good. I don't know if they're the most improved. I think Chaos Demons are the most improved.
I was about to say it could be Chaos Demons literally got point decreases in Cheka. Yes.
Yep.
Just everything. You get a lot of extra shit in that army.
Well,
And-
also the rules commentary stacking ability thing.
Oh,
Right. So you can take the Rend Master on Blood Throne and whack a unit 3 times with that ability, because it's not a named ability. It doesn't give an effect. It doesn't give a named effect to it, as they put in their instance. So that would give you +3 strength, +3 AP, +3 damage.
it makes it 5 damage.
5 damage, AP -5, strength, 8 attacks.
I mean, that seems good for a 110 point unit.
Seems pretty also seems really good if you're using Blood Crushers to pound in there, get some mortal wounds off first, and then wreck them with all that strength and AP.
Ooh, that's silly.
It seems really good.
They have to see the unit. So, yes. Is it in the command, or is it just see it, period?
I think it's command within 18 inches if my memory serves me correctly.
That makes it not as great, just because of the fact that you're going to deep strike those guys in quite a bit.
Yeah.
But you can still run people. I mean, walls still exist. You know what I mean? Just run out and punch people.
Yep.
Brandon, I have no idea how that's a thing. Well, you're going to get hit by it. You're going to be sad. So,
I mean, apparently there's 5 or 6 units in the game that have the ability to where you can stack stuff. I don't remember them all off the top of my head. A few places have been doing little articles on it. So we'll see. I still think Necrons are going to be a little bit of an issue. I just think people haven't learned how to play against Hypercrypt fully yet.
I think that my thing with Hypercrypt is they have decent damage, but if you just screen out your objectives, they have a hard time just getting on stuff. You know what I mean? And the thing is that a lot of their stuff hits, and then you just go, like things like Immortals, for instance. Like if you put Mortals in front of me, they're still 1 wound, 3-up save guys. You know what I mean? You just beat them to death with a stick. So I think that they're the number 1 army, like, period. I actually, well, you know what army I think is just fantastic and people are pooing on it is CSM. CSM is just
good.
Like wildly good. Like the army we're taking this weekend is, we're using old stuff. Screw you guys that voted for old, because we could have been playing new. But our list is Abaddon, 3 units of Accursed Cultists, 2 Forge Fiends, and 6 Obliterators with like a unit of bikes. And you lose the unit of bikes and I think something else. And that's exactly the same unit. You know what I mean? You can't just take Chosen and spam it. But like you can get mad damage out of that still. You know what I mean? That army I think is going to have people taking a break from it and then coming right back.
Yeah.
I mean, I let's talk about the same thing. Eldar, Wraithguard are dead because Phantasm got punted into the sun. Wraithguard went up in points, and Wraithguard can't shoot whatever they want to now, which is a huge deal because now you can just put a unit of Wraiths, put a unit of Terminators, put something next to them, and then just assault them and shoot them with something else from far away. The combo of that plus the Fate's Messenger, which was a baby nerf just because they can't use the 6 on Wraith Gunners anymore, the Wraith Cannon, is a big deal on that. But the fact is, Eldar's wildly insanity deep. You're going to, like, Falcons with Fugan and a unit of Fire Dragons and a Falcon, where Fugan's doing Melta 6 and the guy next to him is doing Melta 4, and they're both strength 14, and they get full rerolls to wound, and effectively they're getting full rerolls to hit. I mean, sorry, they're rerolling 1s, you know what I mean? And Fugan hits on a 2. You know what I mean? And you've got an Eldar reroll.
I think Eldar are just fine. I still think you're going to see. I don't think you're going to see 3 Night Spinners on the list, but you're probably going to see 2. And it's going to be just a shift of meta. They're freeing up 300 and some odd points on the Wraiths, and then you just add in other things.
You're going to put more stuff in. You're going to play like more of a combined arms. It's going to look more Eldar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just a big deal on that, and I think they're not going anywhere. That's still a top 5 army. It's going to be fantastic. It's just To be honest with you, it won't be plug and play, but it might actually be a better versatile list. It will be not as I pound you out all the time kind of thing, but it might have more play. Because right now there's things that Eldar just loses to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think now that you're going to make a more versatile list, it might actually be scarier, to be honest with you.
And let alone some of the what are bad matchups for some armies is coming back into the meta. I think you're going to see Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights a little bit more because they became much more affordable.
They got more for the Imperial Knights still needed more buffs, to be honest with you. I think CK is fine, but I think the Imperial Knights needed a little bit more. I still think that they should have just went, here's your abilities and your points back, go. You know what I mean? The biggest thing with them was still it is Aeldari's gonna. I'm actually excited for Aeldari now. If there wasn't so much hate because of the first part of 10th year for Aeldari, I think they'd be in a great place. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. So,
I mean, I agree with Brandon, who's in chat. Of Eldar got less nerfs than Space Marines. He's probably right.
Space Marines got dude. My list got like 200 and some points more. It was bonkersville.
I mean, they took a lot of data clearly from Worlds, you know, and made a big deal out of, you know, that infiltrator list.
Oh my god, man! They smoked the Vanguard list. It's crazy how bad they killed that.
Yeah,
and that's another army that just wasn't winning at such a big percentage on that. I do think that they still don't know what to do with Indirect, and they just kind of just dump 20 points on everybody that has an Indirect vehicle,
or 30.
And they just kind of sprinkled that over. They're like, yeah, we don't know what to do with this. So.
And the stuff that, like, so as a Tyranid player, right? Because that's my main army. Like, the things I expected to get hit with points increases didn't. And I'm just like, the Exocrine's still 135 points? Okay.
Uh-oh. Lyle coming in with $2 super chat. Roll trip effing tide.
Oh, the Riptide's back in a real strong.
165 is like a really good spot for them, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not old school Riptides, but man, that's a durable vehicle for a $165. So yeah, Sense, I agree. Sense did not need a change.
Yeah.
And the thing is that both those armies, after the nerfs, I still think that Eldar and CSM will probably be in the top 5.
Yeah.
Necrons are currently the number 1 army. I mean, you could split it, you know, between the 2 detachments that people play, Hypercrypt and Canoptic, but still, man, those are crazy good. And who else coming? We said demons. The demon list is just good.
Yeah, there's a lot of lists there.
Well, it's not even just the stacking thing. It's the fact that there's a lot of armies. I mean, we did it with Death Guard, you know, at the beginning. Obviously, they got a different mechanic. Same thing with Dark Eldar. Both Dark Eldar and Demons, they effectively threw so many point decreases at them that you're like, yes, they're pretty good now. You know what I mean? Yep. Once you get enough stuff on the board, you can just play the game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No matter what else is happening, you just go, well, I'm going to score points because I have a lot of extra units now. It's fantastic. Let's see, what do we got? Draxus, Codias. I mean, it's hard not to still run. The Calidus is bonkers still.
So good.
Didn't get touched. I have no idea how she didn't get touched. The Calidus basically just like did some Matrix shit on that.
I mean, you look at like Astra Militarum right now with a Calidus and Gaunt's Ghosts. Going to be kind of fun. Because you're talking about an indirect fire army with stuff that can go out and score that's fairly durable and fairly easy to, you know, do stuff with. Is going to be good fun.
I mean, Zoom's got a good point. He goes, the meta made it change much after the Dataslate, but it might feel better to play with a lot of the face roll abilities. 100%. The armies, like CSM and Eldar, the way that they got nerfed, it makes it like those are still super powerful armies, but they don't feel, the things that they were doing were just shitty. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel like you had any play over the game. You know what I mean? So that is a big deal. I agree on that. Meta Monday, Black Templar number 2. The Black Templar barely got touched. I actually think that the other Marines got hit so hard that the Black Templar sprung fairly hard up. I think they are wildly number 1 in the Marines. It's not even close anymore. After the nerfs to all the other stuff, I think it's crazy town. So it's not even close.
Yep. And the nerf to demon allies for CSM, I don't think it really hurts them that bad.
I think that they have to do that though, because CSM's getting a book and then you're going to get demons, you know, a little bit after that. The problem is that they don't start doing stuff like that. The chaos keyword and the Imperium keyword are just too big. You know what I mean? The problem is you can't make cool units with great abilities and then they just get used in another faction. You know what I mean? You have to start putting limitations on that, or you're just not able to put out cool shit. Because if that cool shit, it's the same thing that Dark Elder paid for forever with being in the same deal as Craft Worlds, and we've had so many times, especially in Eighth, where we had, you know, the Chaos and Imperium keywords weren't even narrowed down at all yet, where you just had, well, this is a super cool army with cool abilities, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to use all your cool abilities in this other CSM instead of demons or you know, and then you had people using that, and you're like, oh, well, now it's broken. You know what I mean? If you got to start putting limitations on allies and things of that nature, or you're not going to be able to have your cool toys. To be honest with you, you're not going to be able to have cool factions if those factions can go in other factions, because you can never balance all of them. I'm sorry, it's just too big.
Yep. And Black Templars mean damage didn't get touched. Very true. Very
100%.
true.
It is hard to bring something that doesn't do assassinate and bring it down. If you're bringing the big boys list, yes, but I think you could bring like MSU style demons is pretty fucking. It's scary, man. I can't even skip that goddamn ad. That's bullshit. Links and $2 super chat. But Brad, Corbulu gets +2 strength now. Oh God, don't start where's Kenneth now? They gotta come in with the Corbulu Wars. For those that don't know, Kyle and Kim are gonna play at some point. Lyle, I don't know. Jesus Christ, I'm fucking up the Kalile. But they are gonna play to see whether Corbulu is good or not. It's the Corbulu. It's the first Corbulu War.
So let's talk about the two armies that they tried to fix the detachment rules, and I don't think they nailed it. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think they helped. Blood Angels got a little bit of a buff, but not.
There's no buff. They got +1 strength.
I was like, I said a little bit.
I mean, that's a real little bit.
Very little bit. And the Space Wolf one, I can't.
It at least is trying, I guess. Here's the thing: it's on both players' turns. If that's, you get double the chances. You at least have a chance for them to go off. What the problem is that you're like, hey, what did you just achieve by your character killing something? The same thing that Black Templars started with.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a cool.
It's a great concept.
I like the concept a lot, and they did make it better. It's still not where it should be, but it's hard to make that work. It's hard to be as flavorful as that and make it tournament worthy. I think here's the thing: is it attachment I'm going to take? Probably not. Is it attachment I think is kind of cool? Yes. Just
and if you're playing wolves, you're still taking was it Stormlance?
You're taking Stormlance or Gladius. You know what I mean? It's a big deal in that. Woofin, we talked about that. KR put that up. Meta Monday bringing it up. So Woofin are fairly legit right now for the point cost. Now that they have the hammers, I think that I'm gonna take. I was just talking with Andy about this, and I think that like at 10.55 might be my loadout there. They just can't get in certain vehicles though, because they do count as 2 for some reason. They're not even that big. So Space with Detachment, you mean Stormlands? But yeah. And the thing with it, I think that the Woofin are worth taking because they hit hard enough and they're cheap enough to be fire and forget missiles. You know what I mean? They go pick up something and you're cool with them being gone. So yeah, exactly. Corey, Bummer Woofin are damaged too now. I prefer them dropping their weapons and slap fighting, which is what they were doing before. But I think that they're worth it. Their point cost is pretty good, to be honest with you. It is a good point cost, and they hit hard enough to be worth that point cost. I think Woofin are fine. The Woofin will rise again. I have a lot of Woofin, so I would like to run them. So, but I think that they're doing enough damage to to be out there. You know what I mean? I think that unit's legit now.
I
Is
think you're
it
going to see him.
is it
Without a doubt.
is it enough to make that army fully viable? I don't know. We were talking about like you bring a lot of hard hitting and then just put some sort of firing base behind them. So I'd be willing to make that work again. I like Space Wolves. Ooh. Exactly. Just fling wolf and forget about them. 100%, Hunter.
Yeah.
That is the price point on them literally says go pick some shit up in the middle and then just accept that you got your value out of them. You know what I mean? Because they just aren't super expensive and they're going to hit hard enough to be able to do that. So I think that they're fine. Talus are super cheap for what they are. It's hard for me not to take Ravager still, to be honest with you, just because of the long distance dedication shots that they can put down. Because the armies that I've been making have been just so spam MSU, but I could see taking Talus now. They have a good. There's a lot of Dark Eldar lists that I could put out there. The Dark Eldar really feel like they have options now, and they really felt like in a shitty place before. I think they have a ton of options. Again, a couple strats, man. The double exploding sixes off the shooting is just legit. You got to figure that 10-man has a blaster, a shredder, dark lance, all in there. Plus all the guns are anti-infantry 3. You know what I mean? So you're just going to be fishing. You get full rerolls when you use a pain token. You're just going to be fishing for sixes and just looking for that big damage on things. You can really put down the hurt. How do we kill those damn wraiths? The wraiths are dead, bro. The wraiths they committed seppuku. They're dunsies. Up in points, phantasm crushed, and you can't shoot back. Wraith Guard are done. However, wraiths from it was covered up by the heart. I thought you said Wraith Guard. Wraiths for Necrons. I actually think you can kill them because you've got plenty of things that actually can do. For one, precision damage. And once the Technomancer's dead, there's just no more 5 of Finno Pain. And you can put a volume of shots. A new Eldar list, a new Eldar is going to be a more volume, I think. You know what I mean? Army than before. You're going to have more stuff. Because you free up, 400 and some points between the Spirit Seer and the Wraith Guard. And you also free up some points because you're not going to take 3 Night Spinners. So you're going to have more shit on the board, and I think that you'll be able to take on a lot of everything. I think the Eldar lists are going to be scary, to be honest with you. I think that you're going to see way more combined arms. You're going to see, walkers and hornets and spiders and hawks and specters and maybe even scorps and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And you're going to see a unit of fire dragons. I think that army is going to be fine. It's not going to be just as point and click and nothing as it was before. It's going to have a lot of moving parts. It's going to be more Eldar, but it's going to be crazy. 100% Falcons. A unit of fire dragons in a Falcon is just bonkers, especially now that you can just go Falcons off board with the fire dragons and they come out and boom, they disembark from the vehicle. You can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? Blam. You just got hit with a bunch of melta. And they're re-rolling things, and it's badass.
Why do you say they can't do anything about it, Brad?
I mean, they can Overwatch me. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that they can't. I would much rather be Overwatched than bombed. You know what I mean? The other thing is like I was talking about earlier. What is your opinion on like solo characters and stuff now? Because I think we're going to see a lot less indirect. All the indirect got hit with pretty big point nerfs. I think you're going to see way less of it.
I think you're still going to. I think guard becomes the indirect. I mean, it should be, but guard becomes a big time indirect army. And if you run into guard and you're running solo characters, you're going to have a bad day. I still think Eldar is going to run 1 to 2 Night Spinners. I think you'll see a little indirect sprinkled in here and there. I just think it's going to be. You will see less volume of it, but you're going to have to be more careful with your deployment on things.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah.
So. Brandon out there, Eldar jetbikes are still dumb. Eldar jetbikes are good for the point cost. The only thing I don't like about Eldar jetbikes is fly is still fucked. You know what I mean? So it's hard to maneuver them. Because of that. I do like John. John, as a Custos player, I fear nothing except rolling less than a 4. I like that. I like that a lot. I never get that. I gotta give you that space. I gotta get a new space with Liz, Gary, because the list that I was gonna send you is not the list that I wanted. Uh, there's, and the thing is that Corey, I agree. You're gonna see it's gonna look a lot like pre-nerf CSM. Lots of you're gonna see it's gonna be even more CSM though. There's Dark Eldar Dark Eldar MSU army is going to play the missions very well. It just has shit everywhere. Like the list I just said, I think has 24 units or some shit. You know what I mean? What has it got? 3, 4, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 22. It's got almost 30, to be honest. It's just so much good shit that it plays. And I love them doing this. I think that's one of the best things in the data slate is taking the bottoms and moving them up. You know what I mean? Custodes and Dark Eldar got a big buff. And I think that's way more important than bringing the top down, is bringing the bottoms up. You know what I mean? That's a big deal.
They did bring a few of the bottoms up. I don't know if they brought enough of the bottom up, because I think Guard got it a little bit ignored on a couple things they could have had come down in price.
Well, tell me what the bottom three, 4 armies are. I mean, it's harder to say that now because we got a lot of,
AdMech right now may have dropped to near the bottom. Right. I actually think Marines outside of Black Templar may actually start creeping down into that because they become a little harder to play. I don't know. From there, it becomes a little more difficult because I think they brought Tau up with the Riptide drop, even though the Crisis Suits got bumped in price. So we'll see.
I mean, Zoom's got a point. Dark Eldar give me a reason for all those heavy stuffers everywhere. Best elf killer in the Imperium. Not a true story. Now, elves are still showing up with hot bikini action in a 40k fight. Probably not the best choice. Cool hair, but not the best choice of armor. Whew. But I still think it's a single. I think the Carpentary is good. I think that they did okay, you know what I mean, with most of the stuff. Maybe it's a double. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If you get a bad throw, it's a double. Vlad Nixon with $2 super chat. Bottom 3, AdMech, Blood Angels, World Eaters. Okay, I'm going to go on this real quick. Everybody's saying the sky is falling for World Eaters. I just don't believe it, man. The army got a little bit of a point nerf. You don't have favored. Yes, that's a big deal. However, you really didn't need that unless you were fishing for Angron. After basically turn 2 on, you're auto getting sustain and feel no pain. Like, you're getting those. Do you need the movement and the advance and charge? Most of the time, I feel you don't. You basically move up to the objectives and go, I'm going to get auto charges. You know what I mean? You're already pushing there. I don't know if you needed it. Is the army worse? Yes, 100%. It doesn't have the same consistency, but it still moves fast as shit and hits hard as hell. I do not think they're at the bottom. That is still a nasty army, and a lot of armies do not have the ability to screen out and do anything about it. So, Kenneth Smith, $5 super chat. I can no longer defend my boy Corbulu. However, the time of the solo tech marine has arrived.
That's distinctly possible. The reason I think that the Riptide became more viable is even at 15 points down, it made him better. I thought he was viable beforehand.
Yeah. I mean, Fly is just jacked. I mean, I really feel that they should have Fly like be real again. It's a detriment keyword right now. If you're not infantry, Fly does nothing but get you wounded on 2s by a lot of things.
Meta Monday's got it right. When your known player is down on your army, it always makes the rest of the people go, "Oh, my army's dead." That's the World Eaters thing. Their main player is down right now on the army.
Sure, because it did get worse. I mean, it objectively got worse, but it just didn't get it didn't get hit that hard. Yes, did it get worse? Yep. Yes. And if you don't want to play it because of that, I understand that. But it is wildly not crazy bad. It just, they're acting like this army's unplayable. You're like, dude, you barely have to reroll. Plus you have rerolls with your icons. It's a big deal now. I don't need to cut Angron. $2 super chat from Lyle. If you cut anger on how do world leaders beat 40 Crute, they punch them in the face.
Yep.
They shoot them with bolt pistols and then punch the rest of them in the face.
And
Also, you don't need to cut anger on.
And don't forget, with world eaters, their Forge Fiend got cheaper. So they have a little bit more of a shooting threat in there that they can put in. Just to point out there.
I mean, yeah. David goes,
I don't know if they're going to run them, but it's there. It's a potential shooting threat. It's a way to kind of cover yourself. It gives you more threat saturation on the table.
I mean, the army's still fine. It's 100%. It's just worse. It is worse. It isn't even remotely. Tell me right now why you wouldn't be afraid of world leaders. You know what I mean? They don't have a million rerolls. Yes, that army's still disgusting amounts of damage coming out. Yep. You know what I mean? I do not think it's bad. So, I mean, the 8-bound did not take major hikes though. They took small hikes. Literally drop the favored guy from your list. You have extra points even. Everything else is fine. I would bring the same list. Bring the same list, drop one guy.
Yep, that's fair.
That's what I would do for right now. Sorry. Per our last conversation about scalpel via hammer, based on how they softly adjusted Black Templars, I think overall they use a scalpel. They missed Incrementalist is the only complaint. I think the Black Templars are just they're we were saying earlier they're wildly number one in Marines. They have multiple ways they can use their list. It's just nice. I mean, you can use them in Gladius, you can use them in their detachment, you can use them in Ironstorm. All three of those are fine.
Yep.
Convince me the BA art bottom three, all the Gladius and Ironstorm models we're using got nerfed and our models still blow. I mean, you might be bottom three. I don't think world leaders are bottom three.
No. We didn't argue with you, Lyle, on the Blood Angels thing. You might be right on that.
Sorry, your BA suck. I was just saying the world leaders didn't. How about that? I don't agree with the world leaders sucking. I already thought the Blood Angels weren't that good, so yeah. Possibly, but the thing is, money. He goes, I think it's because there's a good chance of 6 games that you roll bad and don't get all the buffs you need and lose because of it. But a couple of the buffs are automatic. Like some of them, like 2 of them are just roll doubles. You know what I mean? So you just auto get those. I agree that the army's worse because if you roll bad on turn 1, it does make a big deal because if you can't get your plus to move and advance and charge, yes, that's a big deal. However, after that, when you've already closed the distance and you're staging up, I just don't think it's as big of a deal. I mean, yeah, the army is worse. I just don't think the army got crushed. The army's pointed up slightly, and they're not as consistent. So yes, you're going to have that game that you don't roll great on the blessings chart, but I still think that the army's fine. To be honest, I mean, did it go down? Yep. Did it go down enough to say the sky is falling? Nope. Should you be afraid when someone puts world leaders across from you? Yep. Yeah. You don't have 4 deployers. They scout up. Cool. They rolled decent. And you're still getting smashed on turn 1 half the time. The other time they're staging behind all the ruins and going, feel free to come to the objectives. I'm going to kill you. Expecting Crusader squads to not be a thing after the Codex. We'll see. You can take Outriders now. Oh, man. Brandon coming in with a kick while a man's down. Nice.
I mean, 1+ has got you there. I think with the Lord of Skulls dropping to 450, Brad, that seems like a perfect unit for you.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. The best part about it is somebody mentioned that. They're like, the Lord of Skulls went down. And I'm like, its points are so high, I didn't even notice. I was just like, get away from me. That's ridiculous. So you have to run. World leaders still make you have to play specific strategies against world leaders. You have to forward deploy. You get a double screen. It's just they're completely beatable. It's one of those things where that's still a really goddamn good army. 100%. It's huge.
Is Dark Angel Green Wing one of the worst attachments, Ed? Without having Codex in hand,
I have to have Codex. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the answer.
I can't go off nurse. I mean, literally, I got torched last time we said anything about that, so probably going to stay away from that. right about this time last year, bad things happened to me. So I'm going to go ahead and not talk
Yep.
about leaks.
Yep.
So my 1 year anniversary of getting kicked in the head.
Yeah.
How about no? New Drakari rules, man, they're pretty tasty, to be honest with you. Are they the end all be all? I don't know. Are they a billion times better than they were? Yes, definitely. It's just combination of better enhancement rules. Not even enhancement rules. The enhancements for the real Space Raiders might be better, but the detachment rules are really good for the new detachment. They got a ton of point reductions, and the power from pain AP is a big deal. Oh, Carmona, I just was talking about that. The CSM list is insane. Shooting CSM is bonkers still. They're just good.
Mhm.
Before he went down to 720, I'll probably take that now. My God.
Didn't somebody run that at one of Ed's events not
Yes.
that long ago and
Yep.
do fairly well with it?
Yeah. It's just 720 gives me heart palpitations.
Agreed.
Here's the thing that I think is going to go down. So I think that you're going to see World Leader players, CSM players, and Eldar players, a bunch of them abandoning ship like rats coming off a sinking ship. However, in a couple months, in a month or two even, I think you're going to see a lot of people coming back to that. You're just going to see a lot of people that can't auto smash. The problem is that the internet just says that you're not supposed to play this, or people are like, oh, I can't possibly play this. You know what I mean? Just make your own decisions. Put it out. KR with the $1.99 super chat. Custodes win rate doesn't go up because bandwagon. I mean, that's true, man. You know what I mean? The more popular an army is, the more chance that you have less experienced players play.
Yep. Get out of my faction.
I literally don't even know what to say off why Blood Angel's bad. I can acknowledge that Brother Krabulu likes Kegel's hot dogs more than Lady Gaga or Kamala Martis.
So, Brad, what faction do you now go? I'm going to run that. I want to try it out. Is it Drukari? Is the one that you're looking?
Drukari, 100%. I've already made like 5 Drukari lists that I think are legit. But I already like Dark Eldar. You know what I mean? So I like my pointy ears, but I like armies like that. I like MSU armies. That's my jam. You know what I mean? So I made Custodes lists and I made Dark Eldar lists, and I obviously like Custodes. I like Dark Eldar a billion times more than I like Custodes. Just because I like my cheap shit more than I like expensive shit. So do you think we'll see triple baby carrier Grey Knights list? Yes. I think people are going to try those for sure. They're fairly durable, and they up their damage quite a bit with ignore cover, an extra AP, and they also hit on 3s and 2s now instead. That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
So
and I've got an RTT this weekend that I'm running that, people asked when the Dataslate dropped, are you using it? And I was like, absolutely, it's an RTT. Let's have fun. And like one guy was like, hey, my Grey Knights come out of the boxes. And I'm like, yeah, there you go. So I have a feeling you're going to see a little bit more of them, actually.
So, I mean, you're going to see a lot of people. I think you're going to see a lot of people, like I said, jump off, and then you're going to see people come back. You're also going to see, I think, a big disparity in those factions, because a lot of times people that are just faction, they love a specific faction. They love Eldari, they love CSM, they love whatever. Yep. They're going to keep playing it, and a lot of those people are very just casual hobbyists. You know what I mean? So they don't put up good win rates at tournaments, but they just really enjoy their faction. You know what I mean? So you're going to get more of that in a lot of these factions for a little bit. So it's not a big deal. I mean,
and the nice part is, like, some people, when you are a faction specialist, when they're not as good of an army, you can do better with them because you understand their nuances and you understand how to use them more.
So we probably, as usual, should say, please like and subscribe to the channel. It does help a lot. It really changes the metrics, and it works a lot. So 100% Eldar, super deep. Yep. Actually, Roy's got a good point on that. Grey Knights might be the cheapest to come into because they have a couple really good combat patrol boxes, and a lot of their stuff was in things that came with a shit ton of models. I like any boxes that have the ability to just give you an army. I think that's a big deal on that. I hate the combat patrols and some of the other boxes where they just gave you like kind of some random shit. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is. I actually 100% have it. AdMech is, I was just one of the, shout out to Sean, playing AdMech, you know what I mean? And we were going over it today. I think that AdMech goes up because their predators went down. To play the army, it's still wildly expensive, you know what I mean? To buy all the Vanguard, the Raiders, the the infiltrators, the chickens, the everything that goes into that list is still just $1 million. So it is tough to pivot to that list, but I think there's builds in there. Jesus, Lyle Dixon. Lyle with a $5 super chat. I definitely think our Sisters of Silence faction specialist would take the Sisters of Silence guy this weekend. 100% Mike would crush that. No one, he's the dominant Sisters of Silence player in the world. He's one of 3 Sister Silence players. I do. I think the AdMech's got play. I think that the AdMech list is a difficult list to play, and it's not the list you're taking before. I think tons of infiltrators, tons of Vanguard, a couple chickens. Just, you basically are taking a horde army, and you're playing a horde style. I mean, the fact that Vanguard literally, one of the biggest things, CSM, Accursed Cultist going down to OC1 and then Vanguard just being able to go your OC0 is a huge deal because they don't have to interact with them. They can just get near them. It's a big deal on that. So there's a lot of play there. It's just an expensive army, and it's also an army that takes a lot of practice because it's not a point and click. You're not going to outpower somebody with data slates. You're looking to utilize everything that encompasses your army, you know, move blocking, space, scoring, everything else, going to it and making that happen. So that's hard. I mean, it's more difficult to play for sure. And then, guys, way to go.
So I mean, so apparently, Brad, I apparently have to give you $10 next time I see you to get you to wax poetically about fate dice for a few minutes. And
I will.
on that.
I will, 100%. So, Anna coming in with $2 super chat. Best dice still ever. Cheaper orc buggies say yes. If they would have left my damn knobs and my squig riders alone, yes.
Now, Brad, you know that's yours and Naden's fault.
Yeah, well, I got 2 armies. Literally, I played two armies the past couple months. Both of them, each and every unit I played got smoked. I was just like, hey, man, not cool. So, it's big. You can't win with Sisters of Silence. Uh-oh, KR calling out Brandon. Brandon says he thinks he could win Sisters of Silence to a winning record in a GT. But I'm actually really excited for the codexes coming out. I'm pumped up. I was on, shout out to Wog Tactics. Did an interview with Wog Tactics last night, and one of the things that I'm super excited about is I hope that the new orc book, it just made me think of orcs, and I'm just throwing it out there because I can't stay on topic because, well, that's what I do. I really hope that the clans are very distinct, like Speed Freaks, Blood Vaxes, want to play Snake Bites, and of course Goffs will be the one that's already there. So, but I really like to see, I'd like to see all of the codexes coming out. Like, I'd like to see the Tau Codex have real differentiation between the seps and stuff like that.
I'm looking forward to the Tau book just because I want to see some. I would like to see different play with them.
Oh my God. You know what? Screw you, Corey. I love that everybody gives me shit. When the Eldar preview came out, I said that it was bad preview, and it was. And I stand by that because they showed us Guardians, who are still terrible, by the way. The index is bonkersville, but Guardians are still bad. Yeah, I hope that orcs really do well on that. I'm very excited for that.
I think orcs are in a fine spot. Yes, they got some point nerfs, but they're still good.
My army went up 95 points. I can easily adjust that.
Yep.
So, and we'll see what happens. Again, I really don't care what happens when you have a codex right around the corner. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. You're like, the question is, what the hell are the Dark Angels points actually going to be? Are they going to be the points that we just got? Are they going to be new points? Are they going to give us another QR code? Are they going to be 4? Are we all going to love Deathwing Knights because they end up being 12 points a model? Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, we'll see when we will see when the next variant of the field manual comes out.
Yeah. Sean's list did go down because he took a battle wagon. They went down a lot. Orcs got away with murder. Orcs, I like orcs. And the thing is that orcs were in a good spot already. So I really don't. I really like when they leave armies the hell alone that are already doing what they want them to be doing. You know what I mean? Just let them be. Let it be. I'd sing it, but nobody wants that. Black Knights at 90 are reasonable. I like that. Not 290, but 90. Changing missions. I did think we were supposed to get a change in tournament books. Were we not? Like, isn't that supposed to be right now?
I thought they said once a year, but I could be mistaken.
I don't know. Shalaxi at 450 is bonkers town expensive still. The triple blood throne interaction is crazy time.
Yep.
Exactly. Carmona did tell me that, by the way. Before they like officially said that they could, triple buff, he was basically saying that you should take the triple buff. This is a fact. I have to give Carmona props on this because he did say it back at ATC that you should do that.
So, how do you think Gene Stealer Cult came out of this?
The thing is I thought Gene Stealer Coat was already underrated, so I think they're fine. And I think that a lot of the other armies went down a little bit, or at least sidestepped, and they do because a lot of armies I think are not going to run as much just straight big things. So, and Gene Stealer Colt's great at picking up other people's stuff, infantry and everything else, because of crossfire and everything else. So, new data slate, new missions. I would love to see new missions, to be honest with you.
I would like to see new secondaries.
Well, they kind of goes along with the new mission packet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, granted, we all want to see what is it, the one where you move objectives around leave.
Ooh, UFC Fight Night 300 is stacked. Anybody that watches MMA, whew, that is a crazy card. It's a big deal on that. So, 100% GSC is fine. There's a couple armies that I don't know why people are so down on. You know what I mean? It blows my mind because you see people that really like it just do really well with a lot of these when they pick them up, and then I really feel like a lot of times us as a community just decide something's not good, and that's it. You're just like,
all right. So Brad, let me do something with you. I'm going to give you some rapid fire stuff.
Hit me.
Adeptus Sororitas, up or down?
Sideways.
Up. Same. Custodes, up, down, sideways.
Wildly up.
Admech.
Probably this barely up. I mean, just because of everybody else, because they got no changes, so everybody
Aeldari.
Around them. Aeldari, I actually think sideways.
Okay, Astra Militarum.
You have to say down because they got nothing else, and the Mana Core went down, which I thought was a key piece, or went up. Sorry.
Okay, Chaos Demons.
Wildly up.
Okay, Chaos Knights.
Sideways.
Chaos Space Marines.
Slightly down, but still amazingly good.
Death Guard.
It's exactly where they are. I think they probably got better because of other things getting worse.
All right. Drukhari.
Insanity up.
All right. Grey Knights.
Slightly up, not a ton though.
Okay. Imperial Knights.
Oh, I forgot about that. The order thing isn't. If the order thing stays, IG went up.
Yep.
Sorry, go again. I forgot about that. I just think that they're gonna FAQ that, but continue.
Imperial Knights.
Slightly up, but I don't think it's gonna matter from where they are. If you're not Brian Jones, it's gonna be tough.
Leagues of O10.
I mean, they're slightly down, but it's got to be down. It's not very much down because you can play it. Because I actually think that the clarifications and rules commentary for ignore modifiers makes that the Hearthguard unit with Grim Demeter dropping down, exploding something with plasma is a big deal.
Okay. Necrons.
Even though they got no nerfs, because of the no nerfs, they went up because everything else went down that was near them.
Okay. Orcs.
Sideways.
Space Marines.
Super down, unless you're Black Templars.
I was going to say Black. I was going to break down to Black Templar, but yeah, that's what I was going to go with. Thousand Suns.
they needed more stuff. That army is like really weird for me because he would go rapid fire. I'm like, no, let me tell you a story. Thousand Suns, still the same, infinite damage potential. Things start falling apart as soon as you take pieces away.
Tyranids.
Tyranids actually, I don't know, because the things that went down, like the gargoyles only went up 5 points, not a big deal. But like the things that went down, I don't know how I feel about them. Let me play some games with those, to be honest with you, because the Terran effects went down like a huge amount of points, and I think that might make it valid. And it's a 2+ save T12 monster, and the Norn went down. So 1 Norn and 2 Terran effects is entering a list that already has 3 exocrines. That does sound pretty gross, you know what I mean? So we'll see.
All right. Tau.
Side, if actually they're probably better because a lot of armies are now going to have more people, and they're great at just killing dudes.
All right. World Eaters.
Down.
Okay. So that covers the majority of the factions. We didn't touch on the Titan Legions and Imperial Agents because we're not going to count those.
Mama did get down. I mean, Tyranids, I still think the Tyranids are an underrepresented army as far as their potential, because I think the Gargoyles are busted still, and we'll see. I actually think that there's some play here. You know what I mean? I was talking to Matt Dennis today, and we were trying to work on a new Tyranid list for him, and it was Gargoyles. We tried to run 2 Tyrannifexes, a big Norn, triple Exocrine. They have like just a lot of shit. Death Leaper's still like a monster. You know what I mean? Him with precision is actually a big deal, especially when you're talking about if you want to go hunting Technomancers. It's a big deal.
And he has fight first.
Yep. I mean, he can just pick up the Technomancer. You know what I mean? Once that guy's... Anything that has precision right now is a big deal because we're starting to get really... And I think we're going to get even... As the codexes go on, we're just going to get bigger and bigger leader abilities. You know what I mean? Where you're going to really need to pick the hell off leaders and units to get them to not have 5 of Final Pains, fights first, whatever it is that they have. So I think there's going to be... You're going to have to start building some lists. If you have the ability to get precision, you're going to want to take that. Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal on that. So with that, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. I think Joe's coming down to North Carolina this weekend. That's what I think I heard. I thought I heard that. So we'll be down there for the, I don't even know what it's called. The Death Ninja Kung Fu Master Death Punch 2000 team tournament. I'm almost positive that is the name of the tournament. I could be wrong, but I think that's it. But I'm going to North Carolina. Neurolictors went up. So.
Yeah, they went up. I think 15 points a model. They're still properly point costed. They were actually a little too cheap.
Yeah, they were wildly too cheap before. You auto just took 3 Neurolictors in your list because they were so cheap before.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Neuro Tyrant stayed at 105 personally.
I will be in North Carolina at noon. So I'll be ready to... I did get a Cali Cup. Chase, I got a Cali Cup ticket already. I'm ready to go. Tom and I have our Cali Cup tickets already. We're going to get a couple more of the DOG guys. As long as you guys have tickets, those are coming fast. Woo! Cali Cup, I talked about this on Monday. Cali Cup was one of my favorite tournaments I've been to. They literally were cooking out. They were cooking out on the grill. We had cheap food. They had an open bar. Not an open bar, but like a bar right there. You know, it was open to the outside because of San Diego. I heard they have slightly better weather than we do. And they made it look cool. They had banners. They had music. I'm going to give Anna a shout out. Anna, where the hell are you? I don't even know the city on that. Anna's tournaments opened up completely, has a new area. They opened up having GTs, 3 GTs, I think, this year. And there's a malt shop attached, the oldest malt shop in Michigan, and there's a restaurant literally connected. We'll see about whether they have a balcony so they're also connected, but Anna's running 3 GTs, I want to say. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to going to both those. I think the first one for Anna's in April, and Montauk, Michigan. Yeah, I'll say, Chase, holy crap, they sold out so fast. So I got my ticket and I'm excited. And the Cali Cup was fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. And everyone, I really support your friends, your local gaming groups, your other friends gaming groups, promote their things, go to their tournaments. It's just a big deal. The more support everybody has, the bigger tournaments that people can put out. Somebody that runs up right ahead of me on top there, Tio, the faster you support these, the more you support these, the more they can give you better venues, better accoutrements to everything. You know, the more people, the more money you have to work with, the more people you can bring in, the more restaurants, food trucks, whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Just, and don't be afraid. Don't be a dick. How about that? But don't be afraid to tell, you know, hey, this is how you could make your event better. Most people want constructive criticism.
Yep.
What they don't want is you to go home and then get on Reddit and say, this tournament was stupid because it didn't have this. And they just fucking walk up and be a man. Talk about it. You know what I mean? Go,
Absolutely. That's something you want to hear.
yeah, just tell people what they, you know, what they could have done.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it, man. So again, April, June, and September for Anna's tournaments there. I had a great time. I forgot that everything was super cheap. Also, there's a hotel literally like a stumbling distance. I know because I did stumbling distance across the street, and it was super cheap. It was fantastic. So on that note, let's Queens Wave out of here. Do 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 do.